That's beyond unsettling. Voicemails from your mom, gone for decades, warning you about a mysterious figure you're now seeing in real life. The precision of 3:03 a.m. and the repeated warning, "Don't trust the man in red," suggests something deliberate, maybe even supernatural, but let's not jump to conclusions without exploring all angles. Since you've seen this man, it's time to act cautiously but decisively. Here's a plan to get to the bottom of this while keeping your sanity intact. Document everything. Write down every detail of the voicemails, dates, times, exact wording, tone, any background noises. Record the next one if possible. Check your phone's voicemail settings to save or export them. Note anything about the man in red, his appearance, behavior, where and when you saw him. This log could reveal patterns or clues and serve as evidence if this escalates. Verify the calls. Check your phone records through your carrier to confirm the incoming number. If it's unlisted, spoofed, or tied to an old number your mom used, that's a red flag. If you're tech-savvy, consider apps like Truecaller to trace origins, but be wary of their limitations. If the calls are untraceable, it might point to a sophisticated prank or something else entirely. Secure your environment. The man watching you is a direct threat. Install a security camera, like a Ring or Blink at your home to capture any suspicious activity. Avoid being alone outside at odd hours, especially around 3 a.m. If you live alone, consider having a trusted friend stay over or check in regularly. Don't engage with the man if you see him again. Note his actions and report them to the police if he approaches or lingers. Investigate the prank angle. Cruel as it sounds, someone could be using AI voice cloning to mimic your mom. Tools like 11 Labs or Respeecher can replicate voices with eerie accuracy from just a few audio samples. If your mom's voice was ever recorded, old home videos, voicemails, etc., someone with access could be exploiting it. Think about anyone who might have a motive: estranged family, old acquaintances, or even online trolls if you've shared personal details publicly. Check your social media for overshared info that could have been used to craft this. Explore the supernatural, cautiously. If the calls defy tech explanations and the man's presence feels off, you might consider paranormal possibilities. The 3:03 a.m. timing could align with folklore about the witching hour, when spiritual activity peaks. Your mom's warning could be a protective message, but spirits, if real, can be deceptive. Consult a reputable medium or paranormal investigator if you're open to it, but vet them carefully to avoid scams. Alternatively, reflect on any unresolved issues with your mom. Her message might carry symbolic weight. Protect your mental health. This is a lot to process. Constant fear and sleep disruption can mess with your head, making you see threats where there might be none. Talk to a therapist or counselor to ground yourself. Avoid fixating on the calls alone at night. Distract yourself with routine or trusted company. If you're spiritual, lean on practices that comfort you. Prayer, meditation, or rituals felt heavier that night, as if the world itself was holding its breath. I sat at my kitchen table, a notebook open, scribbling every detail I could recall about the voicemails. My phone, propped against a coffee mug, displayed the call log. 5 calls, all from unknown, timestamp 3:03 a.m. on the dot, starting 3 weeks ago. The latest one had come just last night. My mom's voice, soft, warm, but with an edge of urgency, replayed in my mind. "Sweetie, you need to listen. Be careful. Don't trust the man in red." Each message was nearly identical, always ending with those 6 words that now felt like a cold hand on my spine. I'd checked the carrier records earlier that evening. The calls didn't show a source number, just a blank field where the origin should have been. My provider's tech support was useless, muttering about spoofed calls before suggesting I block unknowns, which wouldn't work since these bypassed my settings. I'd even tried recording the voicemail by holding another phone to the speaker, but the file came out garbled, like static had swallowed her voice. That wasn't the worst part, though. The worst part was what I'd seen at dusk. Across the street, just beyond the flickering street lamp, he stood. A tall figure in a red coat, too bright for the muted tones of my quiet neighborhood. His face was half-shadowed, but his smile, wide, almost too wide, burned into me. He didn't move, didn't wave, just stared. I'd frozen, heart-hammering, until a passing car broke my trance. When I looked again, he was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just gone. I couldn't shake the feeling that he'd wanted me to see him. I followed the advice to document everything. My notebook now held sketches of the man, angular jaw, dark eyes, that crimson coat like something from a vintage film. I'd also jotted down the voicemail's cadence, the faint hum in the background of each one, like distant machinery. I'd ordered a cheap security camera online, but it wouldn't arrive until tomorrow. For now, I double-checked the locks and kept the lights on, my old baseball bat leaning against the couch. Sleep wasn't an option, not with 3:03 a.m. creeping closer. I decided to dig deeper into the prank angle. My mom's old voicemails from the early 2000s were long gone, but we had family videos stored on a dusty external drive in the attic. I hauled it down, plugged it into my laptop, and skimmed through grainy footage of birthdays and Christmases. Her voice was there, laughing, calling my name. It matched the voicemails perfectly, too perfectly. Could someone have gotten hold of these? My cousins had access to the same family cloud account, but we hadn't spoken in years. No one else came to mind, unless I'd posted a clip of one of those videos on social media last Mother's Day, a public tribute. Had I been that careless? The thought made my stomach churn, but it didn't explain the man in red. I opened my browser and searched for man in red sightings plus my town's name. Nothing specific came up, just urban legends about red-cloaked figures in folklore, tied to everything from trickster spirits to serial killers. One obscure forum post from a nearby city mentioned a red-coated man seen near a cemetery, but it was dated 5 years ago and lacked details. X was no help either. A quick search for man in red turned up cosplay photos and bad horror fiction, nothing local or recent. By 2:50 a.m., I was wired on coffee, jumping at every creak in the house. I sat by the window, curtains cracked just enough to see the street. The street lamp flickered again, casting long shadows. My phone buzzed and I nearly dropped it, a text from an unknown number. "Look outside." My blood went cold. I peeked through the curtain, heart pounding, but the street was empty. No man, no red coat, just the lamp buzzing faintly. Then the clock hit 3:03 a.m. My phone rang, the screen flashing unknown. I hesitated, then answered, holding it to my ear. Her voice came through clear as ever. "Sweetie, you need to listen, be careful, don't trust the man in red." But this time there was something new, a soft chuckle at the end, not hers, deeper, almost mocking. The call cut off. I stood, gripping the bat, and moved to the door. If this was a prank, I was done hiding. If it was something else, I didn't know. But as I reached for the knob, a shadow moved across the window, a flash of red under the street lamp. He was there again, smiling hand froze on the doorknob, the baseball bat trembling in my other grip. The man in red stood under the street lamp, his crimson coat glowing like a wound against the night. That smile, too wide, too fixed, sent a shiver through me, but his eyes were worse, glinting with something that felt wrong. Not angry, not threatening, but knowing, like he could see through the walls, through me. I backed away from the door, heart slamming against my ribs, and ducked below the window. No way was I stepping outside. Not yet. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, keeping my voice low as I whispered the situation to the dispatcher. A suspicious person loitering across the street, watching my house. She asked for a description, and I stammered out the details: tall, red coat, dark hair, that unnerving smile. "Stay put, lock your doors, and don't engage," she said. "An officer's on the way." I nodded, though she couldn't see me, and hung up, my eyes darting back to the window. I risked a glance through the curtain's edge. He was gone again. No trace, no sound, just the street lamp flickering like it was mocking me. The voicemails gnawed at me. That chuckle at the end of the last one, low, guttural, male, wasn't my mom. It felt like a taunt, a crack in whatever this was. I opened my laptop, still plugged into the old external drive, and dug through more family videos. My mom's voice was unmistakable, but I noticed something new. In one clip, a 2001 Christmas party, she was talking to someone off camera, her tone sharp, almost scared. "You need to leave us alone," she'd said. The video cut off before I could hear more. I hadn't remembered that moment before. Was it connected? Who was she talking to? I searched my cloud account's access logs next. Sure enough, someone had downloaded that Mother's Day video I'd posted last year, 3 months ago, from an IP address I didn't recognize. My stomach twisted. Someone had her voice and they were using it, but the man in red, he didn't fit the prank theory anymore. Pranksters don't vanish into thin air. By 3:45 a.m., headlights swept across my driveway. A police cruiser pulled up and an officer, mid-40s, stocky, with a no-nonsense vibe, knocked softly. I let him in, showing him my call log and describing the man. He jotted notes, his brow furrowing when I mentioned the voicemails. "Could be a stalker using voice tech to mess with you," he said. "We've seen AI scams like that. But the guy outside, that's concerning." He'd checked the street. No sign of anyone, no footprints, nothing on nearby traffic cams. He promised a patrol would swing by hourly and gave me his direct number. Call if you see him again. And get that camera up ASAP. After he left, I felt more trapped than reassured. The voicemails, the man, that chuckle, they were pieces of a puzzle, but I couldn't see the picture. I grabbed my notebook and added the new details. The chuckle, the Christmas video, the cloud account breach. The 3:03 a.m. timing stuck out like a sore thumb. I Googled 3:03 a.m. significance again, diving deeper. One obscure blog mentioned it as a mirror hour, a time when spiritual boundaries supposedly thin, letting messages or entities slip through. I wasn't sold on the supernatural, but the coincidence was too sharp to ignore. At 4:15 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Another text from an unknown number. "He's closer than you think." My breath caught. I checked every window, every lock, bat in hand. Nothing outside but shadows. Then I heard it, a faint hum, like the one in the voicemails, coming from inside the house. It was low, mechanical, pulsing from the attic. I stood at the base of the attic stairs, heart pounding. The hum grew louder, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. The bat felt useless in my hands, but I couldn't just wait for 3:03 a.m. tomorrow. Whatever this was, it was escalating. The hum from the attic pulsed like a living thing, each thrum tightening the knot in my chest. I stood at the base of the stairs, baseball bat gripped so hard my knuckles ached. The attic door, a flimsy wooden panel above me, seemed to loom, the hum seeping through it like a warning. My phone burned in my pocket with that last text. "He's closer than you think." The cop's number was an option, but he'd just left, and I wasn't sure I could wait for him to circle back. Tracing the text felt safer, but the hum demanded answers now. I couldn't ignore it. Whatever was happening, the attic was its heart. I pulled down the attic ladder, wincing as it creaked. The hum grew louder, vibrating in my teeth. I climbed, bat raised, my phone's flashlight cutting through the dusty dark. The attic was a mess of boxes and old furniture, but the hum led me to a corner where a tarp covered something angular. I yanked it off, revealing an ancient radio, its dials glowing faintly, the source of the noise. It shouldn't have been on, no plug, no batteries, just humming like it was alive. My mom's voice crackled from it mid-sentence. "Don't trust the man in red." I stumbled back, nearly dropping the bat. The radio sputtered, then laughed, that same deep, mocking chuckle from the voicemail. I swung the bat, smashing the radio to pieces. The hum stopped, but the air turned ice cold and a shadow moved behind me. I spun, flashlight catching a flash of crimson. He was there, the man in red, standing in the attic's far corner, smiling that too-wide smile. His eyes were wrong, not human, like pits of ink. "You shouldn't have done that," he said, voice low, the same as the chuckle. I swung the bat again, but it passed through him like smoke. He laughed, stepping closer, his coat brushing the floorboards. Panic took over. I bolted for the ladder, half falling down it, and sprinted to the kitchen for my phone. I dialed the cop, babbling about the man in my house. "Stay calm, I'm 5 minutes out," he said. I locked myself in the bathroom, bat propped against the door, and tried to breathe. The texts, maybe they held a clue. I opened my phone and used a reverse lookup app on the unknown number. It traced to a burner phone, but the app flagged its last ping, a cell tower 2 blocks away, active an hour ago. He'd been close when he sent that message. A knock at the front door made me jump. "Police!" the cop's voice called. I cracked the bathroom door, peering out. The house was silent, no hum, no laughter. I let him in, explaining the attic, the radio, the man. He searched every room, attic included, but found nothing. No radio fragments, no tarp, just dust. "Stress can play tricks," he said gently, but his eyes lingered on my shaking hands. He stayed until dawn, promising to check burner phone records. I didn't sleep. At 7 a.m., I went back to the attic, needing proof I wasn't losing it. In the corner where the radio had been, I found a photo, yellowed and curled. My mom, young, standing beside a man in a red coat. On the back in her handwriting, "He found us. 1984. My knees buckled. She'd known him. This wasn't a prank, it was older, deeper, tied to her. That night, 3:03 a.m. passed without a call. The voicemails stopped, the texts too. I installed the security camera, but it caught nothing. Weeks later, the cop called. The burner phone was a dead end, bought with cash, no footage. I moved out of that house, unable to sleep there, and sifted through Mom's old letters. One, dated 2003, mentioned a red-coated stranger who'd stalked her in the 80s, someone she'd escaped but feared would return. She'd never told me. I still checked my phone at 3:03 a.m., half expecting her voice. I scanned crowds for red coats, always ready to run. Whatever he was, man, spirit, or something worse, he's gone for now. But her warning echoes, don't trust the man in red, I never will.